welcome to Ridgetop Yoga Retreat online yoga. If you're just joining in, just get into a comfortable seated position and we'll get started in a few minutes. And just make sure you have a water bottle close by during practice. And just remember, this is your practice, so do what feels right for you today. And just gently place your hands on your lap and just gently close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath, calming your mind and relaxing your body. Taking deep inhales and exhales through your nose. If any thoughts come into your mind during practice, just bring your focus back to your breath, bringing you to the present moment. Starting from your head, doing a scan of your body, taking your head as a whole, working down your neck, your shoulders, your arms. Seeing if you feel any tension in this part of your body. Working your upper back, mid back, and lower back. Relaxing your body, feeling your body get heavy through the hips, grounding down through your sit bones. On the inhale, completely filling your lungs up with air, and on the exhale, completely emptying your lungs. If there's a part of your body that you feel tension in, see if you can direct your breath into that area to relax that area and release the tension. Anytime during practice a pose doesn't feel right, just come out of the pose and wait for the next one. Listen to your body. We'll get started. Gently place your hands on your lap and really lengthen your spine here. Roll your shoulders around, back and down. And then just bring your chin to your chest and gently close your eyes. And take a deep inhale in through your nose. And slowly exhale out through your nose. Take a deep inhale in through your nose. And slowly exhale out through your nose. continue with that breath. And on your next inhale, gently roll your left ear towards left shoulder. And exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Gentle movement. Match your breath to your movement. And then on your next inhale, roll your right ear towards right shoulder. And exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear, right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. And then on your next inhale, make a complete circle, inhaling on the way up and exhaling on the way down. Gentle movement, getting movement in the neck. And then we'll go in the opposite direction, inhaling up and exhaling down. And next time your chin's to chest, leave it there. And on your next inhale, draw a line with your nose up towards the sky. And exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, draw a line with your nose up towards the sky. And exhale, chin to chest. And we'll do one more round and meet back in neutral spine. And gently open your eyes. And take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Bring your palms together, and on the exhale, bring your hands to heart center, slight bow to your head. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, you can do that now. You can check in with your intention through practice and throughout the day. You can also start your intention with I am, and fill in the blank. I am worthy, I am grateful, I am love, whatever you feel for the day. And then inhale, reach your arms up overhead, lengthen your spine. And exhale, slowly release your hands by your side. And we're going to start standing up today. I know it's pretty cold out, so we're going to get warmed up pretty quick here. So we're going to start in Tadasana, in mountain pose. So just make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Engage your legs, pull your kneecaps up, palms facing forward, and just roll your shoulders around, back, and down. And just take a few deep breaths here. Your eyes can be opened or closed. And gently open your eyes. And take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead, palms facing each other. Really ground down through your feet and reach out through your fingertips for a full body stretch here. Lengthening the spine. Then turn your palms out and exhale, slowly release your arms back down by your side. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead. Really lengthening. And exhale, slowly release your hands by your side. And inhale, reach up, arms overhead. Interlace your fingers, palms facing up. Take a deep inhale and lengthen. And on the exhale, just lean to the left, feeling the stretch in that right hip, the right side of the body. Take a few deep breaths here. And inhale back up to center and exhale right. Inhale center, exhale left, really pressing that right hip out. Inhale back up to center and exhale right. Pressing that left hip out, feeling the stretch in the left side of the body. Inhale, come back up to center, and exhale, slowly release your hands by your side. Now inhale, reach up. We're going to go into our first forward fold. Turn your palms facing out and exhale, swan dive, forward fold. We're going to stay here for a little bit. Put a bend in your knees to let you get deeper into that fold. You can place your hands on the mat. You can hold opposite elbow to opposite hand. You can sway from side to side. And you have a bend in your knees to release that low back. Take a few deep breaths here. You're going to feel the stretch up the back of your legs. Then release your hands. Inhale, slowly roll up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, release. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead. Really lengthen. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Now from here we're going to inhale to a half lift, flat back. Place your hands on the front of your thighs here, elbows are bent. Your gaze is looking down. You have a flat back from your low back to the crown of your head. Take a few deep breaths here, engage your core, pull that belly button in. Lengthening, pulling the shoulders back, bringing those shoulder blades as close as you can together. And then take a deep inhale and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, slowly roll up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, release. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead. You can take your gaze up for a slight back bend. Then exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, flat back. And now we're going to exhale to tabletop. So plant your hands, come down to your hands and knees. Make sure the tops of your feet are pressing into the mat. Your hips are over your knees and your shoulders are over your wrist. We're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow here to warm up the spine. So on the inhale, drop your belly, take your gaze up. And on the exhale, tuck your chin, round your spine, pull that tailbone down. Inhale, drop your belly, take your gaze up for cow. And exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine. Match your breath to your movement, making sure that the tops of your feet are pressing into the mat here. Get the fluid moving in the spine. We'll do one more round and meet back in neutral spine. Inhale, extend that right foot back so it's level with that right hip. Keeping your foot flexed here, engage your core. Then cross that right leg over the left. And you're on the ball of that right foot. It's crossed over your left leg. And then just take your gaze over that left shoulder, looking at your toes on the right foot. You're going to feel the twist in that right hip here. Pressing the top of that left foot into the mat and taking your gaze over that left shoulder, looking at your toes on the right foot. Take a few deep breaths here. Feeling the stretch in that right hip. Then bring that right leg back to center and place that right knee back down on the mat. Extend that left foot out, level with the left hip, foot is flexed. Engage your core here, and then cross that left foot over the right, and take your gaze over your right shoulder, looking at your toes on the left foot. You're going to feel it in that left hip here. Take a few deep breaths here. Then bring that left leg back to center. Place that left knee back down on the mat. We're going to go into child's pose and take a few deep breaths here. So your knees are wider than hip distance apart. Shift your hips back towards your heels and just gently lower your torso between your knees, bringing your forehead down to the mat. Arms can be out in front of you or they can be behind you, whatever feels better on your shoulders. And just take a few deep breaths here. If a pose doesn't feel right or you want to take a break, you can always come into child's pose and just focus on your breath here. Now we're going to come back into tabletop. And we're going to go into thread the needle, working on twists today. So you can either bring your ear down to a block or to books or to a blanket if you can't get all the way down to the mat. So we're going to make sure your hips stay high and stay over your knees here. We're going to take a deep inhale, raise that right arm up towards the sky. And then on the exhale, bring that right hand behind the left arm and bring your right shoulder and right ear down to the mat, block, or a blanket. Your hips are high here for thread the needle. You can extend that left arm out in front of you, or you can place that left hand on your low back and open up that left shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Then bring that left hand back down to the mat. Take a deep inhale, raise that right arm up towards the sky and place it back down on the mat. Now for the left side, take a deep inhale, raise your left arm up towards the sky, and on the exhale, thread that left hand behind your right arm. Bring that left shoulder and left ear down to the mat. You can extend the right arm out in front of you or place it on your low back to open up that right shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Hips are still high over the knees. And bring your right hand back down to the mat. Take a deep inhale, raise that left arm up towards the sky. And exhale, bring it back down to the mat. We're just going to walk our hands out in front of us for puppy pose. So you're going to keep your hips high. This is a great stretch for the upper back, for your shoulders. So you can walk your hands out in front of you, bringing your forehead down to the mat. If that's comfortable, you can bring your chin down to the mat. Trying to get your chest onto the mat here. But you're going to feel the stretch in the shoulders here. Now we're going to walk our hands back to tabletop. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrist, hips are over your knees. And we're just going to flip our toes. We're going to go into our first downward facing dog. So we're going to flip our toes and just hover your knees over the mat. Engage your core here, engage your thighs. And then slowly shift your hips back towards your heels and begin to straighten your legs. You can have a bend in your knees. You can pedal out your feet here. Maybe shift your hips from side to side. And now come to stillness. And really press those hips high. We're going to bend our knees, go up on our toes, and then send those hips high. And see if you can sink your heels down a little more. We're going to do that 2 more times. So bend your knees, go up on your toes, and send those hips high. And see if you can bring those heels down a little more. If they don't reach the mat, that's fine. Not everybody's reach. And then 1 more time, bend your knees, go up on your toes, and send those hips high. And bring the heels down. Then inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward to forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. See if you can get deeper into the fold. Then inhale, slowly roll up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana and mountain pose. Feet hip distance apart, engaging the legs, palms facing forward, shoulders around, back and down. And just focus on your breath. Your eyes can be opened or closed. If you want to get a drink of water, you can get a drink of water now. We'll come to the front of our mat and we're going to go into sun salutations. So come to the front of your mat, take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead, take your gaze up for a slight back bend. Then exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, flat back. Exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Engage your core. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrist. And you're pressing through your heels here. You can modify and come to your knees and flip your toes if you want. Then with control, keeping your elbows close to your side, You can come to your knees, flip your toes, and slowly lower down to the mat, or you can lower right from plank. Slowly lower down to the mat, flip your toes, and come up for cobra. For cobra, your arms are under your shoulders. Here, pressing your palms into the mat, shoulders are back and down, looking straight ahead, toes are pointed back. Be careful of your low back here. Exhale back down to the mat, flip your toes, and push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, slowly roll up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. We're going to do that 2 more times. So if you need to take a break, that's fine. If you want to get water in between, that's also fine. So we'll be at the front of our mat. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, flat back. Exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Engage your core. You can come to your knees if you want. Then with control, bring your chin and chest down between your hands. Flip your toes and come up for cobra. Exhale back down to the mat. Flip your toes, push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, slowly roll up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, release. And last one. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, flat back. Exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Engage your core here. Then with control, bring your chin and chest down between your hands and come up for cobra. Exhale back down to the mat. Flip your toes. Push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, slowly roll up, hands overhead. And exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana and mountain pose. Come to the front of our mat, and we're just going to step that left foot back. We're we're going to go into high lunge. So you're going to step the left foot back and put a bend in that right knee. And then once you find balance, bring your arms to goalposts, lifting the heart here, looking straight ahead, trying to bring those shoulders back. And then when you find balance, you can raise them up for high lunge. Take a few deep breaths here. Make sure your shoulders aren't up by your ears. And then bring your hands to heart center and drop that back foot down for warrior one. So your toes are facing the left corner of the mat. Put a bend in that front knee. Make sure your torso is centered, your weight's evenly distributed on both feet. And then bring your arms to goalpost and raise them up for warrior one. And now just bring your right hand down to reach that left thigh. And just turn to your right, looking over that right shoulder. Feeling the twist in that left hip. And then come back to warrior one. And bring your hands to heart center. And then you can place your hands on your low back or interlace your hands behind your back. Bring in those shoulder blades as close as you can. Take a deep inhale, take your gaze up. And on the exhale, just begin to hinge from your hips and go halfway for humble warrior. We're going to stop halfway, really engaging the thighs here. Engage your core. Take a deep inhale, pull those shoulders back a little more, and exhale, forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale, slowly roll back up to center. Bring your hands to heart center and step forward to Tadasana. We'll take a few deep breaths here and then we'll do the other side. So now we're going to place our hands on our hips. Step that right foot back, going into high lunge, put a bend in that front knee, hips are facing forward. And then when you find balance, bring your arms to goalpost, lifting the heart, looking straight ahead. And then when you're ready, you can raise your hands up for high lunge. Palms are facing each other. You're pressing through that back, the ball of that back foot. Then bring your hands to heart center and drop that back heel down to go into warrior one. So the right toes are facing the right corner of the mat. Then put a bend in that left knee. And then bring your arms to goalpost. And then raise them up for warrior one. Then drop that left hand down and just turn to look over that left shoulder. Then come back to warrior one. Bring your hands to heart center. Either place your hands on your low back or interlace your hands behind your back. Bring in those shoulder blades as close together as you can. Take a deep inhale, take your gaze up. On the exhale, hinge from your hips to forward fold. When you get halfway, stop. Take a deep inhale, engage your core, And exhale, forward fold. Then inhale, slowly come back up to center. Bring your hands to heart center and step forward to Tadasana, to mountain pose. We'll take a few deep breaths here. Now for our balancing pose, we're going to do eagle pose today. So find your drishti out in front of you, your stationary point out in front of you. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed on both feet. Now you can just do your legs and keep your hands at heart center if you have bad shoulders, or if you want to do your arms too. We're going to first shift our weight into that left foot and just cross your right over your left, keeping your toes, your right toes on the mat. You have a slight bend in your knees here. And now if you want to add the arms, extend your arms out in front of you and then place your left arm over the right and bend at the elbows. The backs of your hands are together. If this is comfortable, you can bring your palms together. If it's uncomfortable on your shoulders, you can just keep your hands at heart center. Once you get in the position with your arms, you can begin to lift your toes up off the mat. Toes are pointed down here, working on balance. So focus on that stationary point. You can wrap your toes around that standing leg. If you fall out of it, you can come back into it. The more you raise your arms, you're going to feel that tension in your shoulders. And then release your arms. Bring your right knee forward and down and shake it out. Now your feet are hip distance apart. We're going to do the other side. Place your hands on your hips. Find that stationary point in front of you to focus on. Begin to shift your weight into that right leg, pressing down through all four corners of that right foot. Cross your left leg over the right. Put a slight bend in your knees, and your toes can be on the mat to get your arms situated. Extend your arms out in front of you, palms facing each other, and then your right arm goes over the left and the backs of your hands together. If you're comfortable here, you can bring your palms together, maybe raise your arms up or lower them, whatever feels better for you. And then you can work on lifting that left foot, toes pointed down, or you can wrap that left leg around the right, pressing down into that right leg, right foot, working on balance. You might notice one side's different than the other. Then release your arms. Bring your left foot back down to the mat. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana. Now we're just going to go to do a little bit of stretching with our legs after that. So your feet are hip distance apart. We're going to do a full body stretch, working on balance again. We're going to take a deep inhale, reach our arms up overhead, and go up on our toes here for a full body stretch, working on balance. And then exhale, slowly release back down to the mat. Make sure that you focus on your drishti here, on your focal point. Take a deep inhale, bring your arms up overhead, rock onto your toes, full body stretch, engage your legs here. And exhale, slowly release back down to the mat. And we're going to do that one more time. Inhale, rock up on the toes, full body stretch, palms facing each other, working on balance. And exhale, slowly release your hands back by your side. Now we're going to go down to the mat and we'll get there through squat. So if you want to turn your toes out a little bit so your knees can follow your toes, not to jeopardize your knees, you don't have to do squat pose malasana. You can just go to seated staff pose, or if you want to do malasana pose, we'll do that now. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead, bring your palms together. On the exhale, bring your hands to heart center and just begin to bend your knees. And whenever your heels begin to lift, just stop there. If you get all the way down, you can place your elbows on the inside of your knees here. And just take a few deep breaths here. And then bring your hands down to the mat. And we're just going to keep our knees bent. Keep your feet mat width apart here. And lean back on your hands with your fingertips facing your glutes here. And we're just going to windshield wiper our knees, let them fall out to the sides. And now we're going to extend our legs long out on the mat. Your palms are flat on the mat beside you. Really ground down through your sit bones. Lengthen your spine. Reach out through the crown of your head. You can have a slight bend in your knees if you want. Your feet are flexed. You're pressing your palms into the mat and everything's engaged here. You're pulling your belly button in towards your spine, lengthening the spine here for staff pose. And then relax everything. We're just going to point and flex our feet here. We've worked our legs today. And then keeping your feet flexed, take a deep inhale, lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands towards your feet, hinging from your hips, keeping a flat back as long as you can. You can put a slight bend in your knees. You're going to feel this in your low back here. So you can take an inhale, come up a little bit, and then on the exhale, just round your spine. See if you can let your head get you deeper into the fold. Breathing into your low back here. And slowly walk your hands back to center. And we're going to bring that right knee in towards our chest, keeping that left foot flexed. You can cross it over that left leg If you want, if it's too much on your hip, just leave it beside you. Bring your right hand behind your right hip. We're going to go into half Lord of the Fishes. So your left elbow goes to the outside of that right knee, and your palm is facing towards the right. If you want to do full Lord of the Fishes, you can bend that left leg so your toes are pointing back. You can bend that left knee. If it's uncomfortable on that left shoulder to have your elbow on the outside of the right knee, you can just wrap your left arm around that right knee. So wherever you're at, do what's comfortable for you. Take a deep inhale, lengthen the spine, and on the exhale, twist looking over that right shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Then release the twist, come back to center, straighten that left leg, straighten that right leg. Then bring that left knee in towards your chest. You can cross it over that right leg. Bring your left hand behind that left hip and either wrap the right arm around the left knee or bring your left elbow to the your right elbow to the outside of that left knee. For full Lord of the Fishes, you can bend that right foot back towards your left hip. Take a deep inhale, lengthen your spine, and exhale, twist looking over the left shoulder. So your right elbow would be on the outside of that left knee. Your palm is facing to the left, and you're looking over your left shoulder. Your right leg can be straight and flexed, or you can have your right knee bent and your toes facing back. Then release the twist, come back to center, release your legs, and we're just going to bring the soles of our feet together for bound angle pose. So bring the soles of your feet together and just open up the arches of your feet here. You can place your hands on your ankles and really lengthen your spine here and ground down through your sit bones. And just butterfly your knees out to the sides. And then come to stillness. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, begin to hinge from your hips to forward fold. You're going to feel this in the inner thighs here. It doesn't matter how far you get down. You're trying to keep a straight spine here. Then slowly roll back up to center. Bring your knees in. And we're going to go onto our backs. So just gently roll onto your back here. And hug your knees into your chest. And rock from side to side. And then bring your feet flat on the mat, hip distance apart. Place your palms flat on the mat beside you. Tuck your shoulder blades under. And we're going to go into bridge pose. For bridge pose, make sure your knees don't fall out to the sides here. We're going to go into rolling bridge. So on the inhale, begin to lift your hips up towards the sky, pressing into the soles of your feet and your shoulders here. Squeeze in the glutes. And then exhale, slowly roll back down to the mat. Inhale, slowly lift your hips up towards the sky. Match your breath to your movement here. And exhale, slowly release back down to the mat. And next time your hips are up towards the sky, leave them there. And see if you can walk your feet towards your shoulders a little more. Tuck your shoulder blades under. You can interlace your hands behind your back. You can go up on your toes. Really pressing the hips high, squeezing the glutes. And then release your hands, come back to the soles of your feet, and slowly lower back down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And then place your feet flat on the mat, hip distance apart. And we're just going to place our right ankle over our left knee, keeping that right hip open, keeping that right foot flexed. We're going to go into reclined pigeon. So you can interlace your fingers behind that left thigh and raise that left foot up towards the sky. Hugging that left leg towards your body, keeping that right hip open. Your feet are flexed here. And release your hands, bring that left foot back down to the mat. Extend your arms out to the side. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to roll on to that left hip, bringing that right foot down to the mat, and taking your gaze over your right hand. You're going to feel the stretch in that right hip. Then slowly roll back up to center. Bring your hands by your side. Release that right foot back down to the mat. Bring your left ankle over that right knee. And open up that left hip here. And you can stay here with your foot flexed, or you can interlace your hands behind that right thigh and extend that right foot up towards the sky. Keeping both feet flexed here. Then release your hands, bring that right foot back down to the mat. Extend your arms out to the side. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to roll on to that right hip, bringing that left foot down to the mat. Shoulder blades are flat on the mat. Taking the gaze over your left hand. And slowly roll back up to center. Bring your hands by your side. Release that left foot down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And then extend your legs long out on the mat here. Your palms are flat on the mat beside you. Now we're going to start with the right leg. We're going to work on our core a little bit these last couple minutes here. Really focusing on the core to help lift the legs. So we're starting with the right leg. Point your toes and inhale, lift your right leg about 6 inches off the ground. So 1, 2, 3. Flex your foot, push out through your heel and hold. And then slowly lower. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do the right leg 2 more times. So point your toes. Inhale, lift, engage your core. 1, 2, 3. Flex, push out through the heel. Hold. And lower. 1, 2, 3. Last one this side. Point your toes. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex your foot. Hold. And lower. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do the left leg. Point your toes. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex. Hold. And lower. 1, 2, 3. Left foot, point your toes. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex. Hold. And lower. 1, 2, 3. And left foot, point, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Now you can continue one leg at a time or bring your feet together. Really engage your core if you're going to lift both legs at the same time. So palms are flat on the mat beside you, shoulder blades are tucked under. Point the toes. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. And one more. Point your toes. Inhale, lift. 1, 2, 3. Flex, hold, and lower. 1, 2, 3. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And extend your feet up towards the sky for legs up the wall. Palms flat on the mat beside you. Point and flex your feet. And then keep your feet flexed. Really push out through your heels here. For legs up the wall. Ankles are over the hips here. And then bend your knees towards your chest. Soles of your feet are facing the sky. We're going to go into, hold your hands to the sides of your feet or your big toes. And you're pressing your hands against your feet. And then hug your knees into your chest, and we'll get ready for Shavasana. So you can have the soles of your feet together and your arms away from your body, palms facing up, or you can extend your legs long out on the mat, hip distance apart, and let your feet fall out to the corners of the mat. And gently close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath. Relax your forehead, relax your eyes. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. slowly rise and fall on the inhale and exhale. Relax your shoulders, your upper arms, your forearms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Relax your chest, your abdomen, your hips. Relax the front of your thighs, your knees, your shins. Relax your ankles, the tops of your feet, all the way to the tips of your toes. Relax the soles of your feet, your calves, the backs of your thighs. Relax your low back, mid back, and upper back. Relax the back of your shoulders, the back of your neck, all the way to the crown of your head. Continue your breath past the crown of your head, all the way past the tips of your toes. A continuous flow of air. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your head from side to side. And when you're ready, roll on to your favorite side. With your eyes closed, come up to seated position, hands at heart center, thumbs at your sternum, slight bow to your head. Yoga is a journey, and thank you for sharing your journey with me this morning. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for joining in the class this morning. I hope everyone's well and staying warm. If you have any questions or ideas, just send us a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Have a great day. Namaste.